Hi, welcome to Integrated Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith, and happy Thanksgiving. Um, I haven't been on here for a couple of weeks. I've been just snowed under with business. I've missed getting on here because I have a lot of things that I want to get to, but such is life, and I thank God for the blessings of all the things with which I'm busy, and I know that I'll get back pretty soon. Anyway, I hope that you all have had a good, a great Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays, um, and certainly my favorite American specific holiday. It's a day that we give thanks to God for all the blessings that we have, that He has given us. I started the day off, it was beautiful weather, 31 degrees and raining, when I had to go up on a roof and fix somebody's lights that were flickering, and and all the time up, my oldest son went out there just to be there because we always go as a pair to have somebody dial 911 in case things don't go right. But the whole time that I was up there, and I don't understand how it can rain at 31 degrees. Maybe some meteorologist can explain it to me, but it seems to me that under 32 it ought to be snowing. But it wasn't. I would have loved to have snow. But it was raining on me, and it was cold, and my fingers, I couldn't feel them after a while, and but still, all the time up there, I thought about the meaning of this day and thought how thankful I was for the opportunity to have the things that I do to make a living that I enjoy, to have the physical abilities to do them, to have the opportunities. And it made me think about the true meaning of Thanksgiving, and I'm sure that you all feel the same way. So we had a great day. We had family over to the house all day long for the main Thanksgiving dinner, and most of the family is left, and now we have friends over, and and now it's evening. And if you hear a bunch of kids yelling and screaming and running around in the background, that's okay because that's what kids do, and they're having a nice Thanksgiving. When I thought about Thanksgiving, I thought about one of the um, how I start one of my books. So the book is The Revival, and I started around Thanksgiving, and I did that for a reason. Um, Actually, because I brought the book out, I think, around last Thanksgiving. But I thought I wanted to read just a few paragraphs in it. And for those of you who have read the books, you'll be a little bit familiar with this. And if you haven't, I don't think it will destroy or give away too much, so that you won't be able to enjoy it when you do read it. But the setting it's the day after the Thanksgiving celebration, and Jim Wyatt is reflecting on what had happened the night previous, and he's going to be saying a few things to the people who've assembled for the Thanksgiving dinner, a large Thanksgiving dinner at Stonemont in the main hall. And I'm going to read this, and when he gets to the point to where he's saying that he's going to read from where, excuse me, from something of his family journal. That's from a journal of one branch of my family that I have. I have the genealogy of our family lines, and I love going through it. It's very interesting. I hope you all do the same for your families. But when we get to that point, what he's talking about here, what he's reading, is directly from the journals of one of my family lines that came from Switzerland to Virginia in the early 1700s. So I'll begin here and just be a few paragraphs, but I think that you'll see the meaning here. And now I start. He had stood quietly as he waited for the room to see him, and calmed to near silence, then reached into his pocket and withdrew the slip of paper on which he had copied some lines from the green folder in his den. He had taken a moment to scan the hall, looking at the faces turned toward him, and thinking of each of them, what each of them had gone through in the preceding months. Then he began. I was reading through some of our old family history earlier today and came across a passage describing one of our branches who came from Switzerland and settled in Virginia during the early 1700s. It struck me that our time is in some ways similar. I think you will see the relevance. He had put on his glasses and begun to read. At that time, this section was a wilderness. Deer roamed through the forests, and streams abounded in fish, ducks, and geese. Wild and dangerous beasts were plentiful. They were schooled in the hardships of pioneer times. They felled the giant oak and erected their log cabin in the wild woodlands. They preferred such environment, and I'm sorry that I'm stumbling over my own words here. They preferred such environment in a land dedicated to religious and political freedom rather than to suffer persecution in their native land. He had paused, taken off his glasses, which I can't do or I wouldn't be able to read this, and surveyed the silent faces looking back at him. We are in a new wilderness, and dangerous beasts are again plentiful, though most of them are two-legged. We are becoming schooled in a new kind of pioneer life, and we felled the trees to build our cabins. But more than any of that, we can see the greatest parallel in their preference to live their lives in a land dedicated to religious and political freedom, rather than to suffer under persecution in what their native countries had become. The hall remained silent, and he continued. Many of us have said that the country we grew up in had ceased to exist long before the collapse. The America that valued liberty, virtue, morality, hard work, and self-reliance had devolved into a semi-socialist state of coddled, dependent, incompetent, politically correct crybabies who were offended by anything with which they disagreed, and who, by their sheer numbers and political influence, were able to stifle and control the producing class which had done most of the work to support them, consequently driving our once great country into a chaotic decline. I'll stop there. There was another paragraph that I intended to read, but I think I'll stop there. And I think that we can all see a parallel in there. We are in a different wilderness now, and as we reflect on Thanksgiving and what this means, and think about the reason that those people came over to this new country, to seek a place where they could worship as they felt, and actually bring the gospel of Jesus Christ to a new land, unapologetic, but refusing to live under the oppressive thumb and iron fist of a government that would not let them worship as they felt. We can see a parallel in much of what's going on today. So I just wanted to share that with you and say that I see this as a new wilderness that we're in now. We're having to fight different kinds of battles. And just as they stood up and made their way and forged their way through a challenging time and a challenging place, so must we continue to do that and realize that as they came over with God and family and rifles and axes and built a new country out of nothing, we must hold to those very same tools: God, family, rifles, and axes, meaning the tools that it takes to build our lives the way that we think that we should, and to be able to protect that life. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. I wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving. I hope that you have had as good a one as I have, and I hope that God continues to bless you and your families for the next year forward. I see we're having some fun there, so I think I'll sign off. Happy Thanksgiving from Integrated Preparedness and the Smith family. Bye-bye.